I slapped on some eyeliner just for you so I could tell you all about my conversation with Kay Zimmer. We had such a wonderful conversation. Please listen to the full episode. It was so good, so insightful, so honest and funny. And speaking of funny, they have a show happening tomorrow, March 12th at the Toronto Sketch Fest. So check that out, grab your tickets. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy this episode, my interview with Kay Zimmer, where we talk about mental health, creativity, their show happening tomorrow, and so much more. Enjoy. So tell me about the show that you have going on.
Yeah, so I'm going to be performing at the Toronto Sketch Comedy Festival on March 12th at 10 p.m. My set is 30 minutes. It's called Manic Depressive Thrillness, a Mad Musical Comedy.
Amazing.
Thank you. Uh, yeah, the manic depressive part, that's me. I'm bipolar type 1, ultra rapid cycling, which it sounds like I'm a professional athlete, but no,
It's a pretty impressive title.
thank you so much. I work out a lot. I keep my my coach busy.
Same
My
thing.
trainer. Yeah, same thing. He's my personal trainer. So there's that part. I'm bipolar type 1. I have flagrant manias and crashing depressions, and some psychosis, to switch things up sometimes when I'm like, you know what, this reality, it's not doing it for me. Let's go elsewhere. And Yeah, the Mad musical part was I had the idea of because I performed at Toronto Sketch Comedy Festival in 2023, where I did a snippet of a Mad musical. Now, at the time, I was part of a collective called where we call ourselves like Mad Villagers, like the Madville Collective. And It's a group of they're very talented actors, and Rochelle Richardson helped kind of produce our first play, and they're amazing. And so we got to perform as a collective, and we each had our 10 to 15 minute slots. And so at the time I showed up, I was really mentally ill, not as ill as I am now, but things were bad. And so I had nothing prepared. The only thing that I had kind of scripted in my head was this musical it's one song that I came up with one manic night after not sleeping. I have yet to write it down because it just lives in my head rent-free. And it's called Stephanie Cow King, the Astro Cow. It's about a cow who witnesses nuclear fusion. She has a hard time with it. She has a transatlantic accent.
Of course.
Of course she does.
I love.
She meets a hydrogen atom, and his name is Adam. And then the hydrogen atom, for whatever reason, is the bad guy, and he's like, "I'll bust your cow cat." Anyway, it's all in song form. Not that makes it make sense anymore. Anyway, but so that's a song I came up with when I was manic. Maybe a year and a half or 2 years before 2023 when we performed. And so that morning, after not sleeping, I was like, great, this is the best idea I've ever had. It's about a space cow. So I performed it at my psychiatrist via the WebEx Zoom equivalent. So he had to take that in as clinical information. And I told him, kind of as a threat, I was like, just you wait. One day I'm going to put Stephanie Cow King on stage. You watch this space. And so I did. But coming back to the performance, so I just showed up, and I had nothing prepared, but I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to turn my brain on loudspeaker and see what happens, let people, because it never stops. So I went on stage, set 2 timers. Why 2? Because I'm paranoid. You gotta, because
It's real.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, this better work. So I just set 15 minutes, and I showed up on stage. For some reason, this man came out, not an actual man, but like me, just turned into Steven, but it's not spelled phonetically. It's spelled D-A-D, Steven. So I was like the audience's father figure. Should I be concerned? Probably. But anyway, so Steven set, the timer, and so then I just like brought out all my mental illnesses and disorders as characters to come on stage and do whatever. The only thing that I knew was ready was Stephanie Cowking. So then I found a way to bring Mania in, and then did my cow. And then at the end, I ended with autism, riffing on some, facts about the vitreous humor, like the jelly-like substance in your eyeball. Anyway, this is all to say, my roommate was kind enough to record it on their phone, and they sent me the video. So I had this 15-minute clip, and when I applied for this show, to finally answer your question, just totally circuitous. I applied for this by sending that clip. It was like the only material I had because I'm not known in the biz. I happen to be here. Like, who let this crazy person on stage? I'm just here. So I was in the psych. I've been in the psych ward now 26 times. I'm just, it's, again, I'm flexing that muscle. Personal trainer, we're full circle.
That's right.
And so, but I had a string of back-to-back admissions from August to mid-December. Here's the part where it's going to get a little dark, but it's going to be okay. And I swear I'm going to answer your question.
No, that's okay.
Awful.
This podcast is for tangents and rants, so yes, feel free.
Tangents, that's all I do. I once, in my first admission, before I started working with my current psychiatrist, whom I've been with for 5 years, a psychiatrist he told me, this is kind of all over the place. This is all, what you're saying is all coming out like a brainstorm. And I said, it's a brain map and I know where I'm going. Anyway, you're just not following.
Sure.
So, back in this past July 24th, a not great thing happened. So I was assaulted in a park next to where I live for 2 hours. It was a whole thing.
Jeez.
But yeah, it sucked. It wasn't my favorite Wednesday. Yeah. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I was lucky in a lot of ways. I messaged a friend, just like this ghostly text at 4 a.m. with no punctuation, just like, are you there? And he came within minutes. In the time it took for him to come, a totally different guy pulled up in his car and pulled me into the car. And I was like, at that point, I was just bored. I was like, come on, it's getting repetitive. Anyway, ambulance comes, we get to the hospital, etc. And so then I emailed my psychiatrist to let him know he would have his work cut out for him. But this is supposed to be about the comedy festival. Why are you taking us here?
Because comedy does come from some interesting places. So
yeah, what they say. Whoever they is, we'll never know. Comedy is tragedy plus questionable coping skills. I don't know.
Feel that.
But so I had some injuries. I had a rib fracture and my eyelid. I don't know if you can tell. It's a little wonky, but my eyelid also got injured and infected. here's where I applied. So I was in, this was, I guess, back in November, I think, yeah, November. So I was in the psych ward, and then I had to go to Mount Sinai for eyelid surgery. And then I came back from that, and the deadline to apply for I think for anyway, I was cramming the deadline. It was like I get things in like a midnight deadline. I'm early if it's in by 11:45 p.m. You know?
Yeah.
So it was one of those. And I was like in psychosis. I was actively hallucinating. Not because they had given me any sedatives. Oh no, that was done raw. But
Done raw.
ooh, word choice. But it's fine. The choosing of my choices is a choice. But anyway, so I came back and I was just, I don't know, this I just out of some soldered commitment to this space cow. I was like, you know what? Toronto sketch comedy, they might want my cow. I got to get this application in. So I sent off the most unhinged, unprofessional application. In it, I was even writing like, I'm currently like, I hallucinated Beethoven and Rachmaninoff, like the classical composers, who are very much dead and were very much not in the room. But they're my boys. And I how you can cold call people, i.e. like you call them without texting them before to tell them that you're going to call them. So I like cold cowed Virginia Woodall, who's amazing, and like one of like the main organizers, and she was so generous and kind with her emails, and I just like cold cowed my space cow. I just like dropped my cow video in her email. Like, not the form, like, there was a proper format to fill. I was just like, here's my cow. I said something like, I don't have much to lose except for a bit of eyelid function. So I wanted to put on this cow musical, and it's turning into, like, I'm finding ways of crafting, like, the story of this bizarre application, this one-eyed application that I sent in, and then getting into the musical part.
Fun. That is amazing.
That was the brief answer.
That was the brief answer. I want the long answer next time.
Careful what you wish for, because this mouth, it's half numb from Novocaine, and it can still go.
It can still go. Yeah, give it. Can you smile properly after the dentist, or are we still?
I'm a manic depressive. I can't smile properly.
Fair. That's hilarious. You're so quick. Do you have comedy background?
Absolutely not.
So natural.
Yeah, it's all clinical. It's I have no acting background. But I've just always had a penchant for being performative. Like it honestly, like over the last 5 years, with fellow patients in the psych ward, we just like put on skits. We start improvising. I met the most incredible people, some of whom are actors, others who are just performative and just these really interesting, vibrant people, they're like sometimes I think I wish I should probably just add this to my CV, like under like acting experience. It's like, well, I mean, I did perform some shows in the ward, and one of my best friends, we memorized Hamlet monologues. We were to being or not to being it, which is really a psych ward thing. I mean, it's like whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. also polonium, and other thing like another a fellow patient of mine and friend, we tapped into our alter egos, I suppose, who ended up being these two Scottish men called Frank and Hamish, and for some reason we'd just berate each other. Well, my character would just berate hers and just go, listen, Frank, and let me be frank with you. You've let yourself down. You've let your whole family down. And you don't even have a family. What's going on? And then her character would go, I know, man, I let myself down. And you know what you should have known? What should I have known? You should have known that you should have known. So, other than that, no experience. I'm a nobody in the business. But I'm very much a somebody in the ward. They know me well. They know me. They know me so well there that there was one time I came in, and one of the nurses, she's retired now, she was lovely. She said, okay, she was Italian. So she said, okay, every time I see you is like family. I'm like, oh, that's really nice to say. Thank you.
So sweet.
Yeah.
What are some things that you wish people knew about wards in general? Because I think everybody just has like this one view of it, and essentially what you've seen in cinema, right?
Yeah.
So what would you like people to know about wards and checking yourself in or what have you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. Because, you see like CAMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health, and people who, aren't in the know, like they're, who have some preconceived notions, they might fear mad people or think, that like what are like they might people often do look down at people who are mentally ill, mad, and what I want people to know is that like the people in there are doing. They're doing so much work, and work. I don't mean that in the capitalist sense. I just mean like working on themselves, working on like lifting each other up. I had an art gallery at Show Gallery with all of the which is actually across from CAMH, with all of the or most of them, hundreds of paintings. That I did over the course of my many admissions, and in the gallery, I put up a picture of all of my paintings in my room in the ward at one point, just to be like, yeah, here they are in a nice gallery, but this is where they came from, and I'm not exceptional. I'm just one example of the kind of like magical metamorphosis that I've seen happen in this place, and like. Yes, there is and I have been on the receiving end of like institutional violence, when police have gotten involved, like there is a dark side to a dark history with psychiatry. That being said, I think it's vital to showcase what good psychiatric care can look like and should look like, because the seventh floor, which is the unit where they know me well, that model of care is it feels holistic. It is, and it's also like the care there. There is the assumption that everybody who walks through that door has the potential to put in the work themselves. It's not just, and can build themselves back up. It's not just like, all right, take your meds, shut up, be calm, be less tedious to deal with. Because a lot of places, and I've been to other places, they're just Tupperwares for human beings. But no, I've seen people do just things way beyond whatever it is that I've done. Just like people going to NA or AA meetings for the first time, people mending relationships, people, figuring themselves out through different diagnoses, or maybe they discover themselves in really enriching ways. Art, so much art. I've seen people like I've met professional artists and I've met artists who who never knew that they could paint or sing or draw or act, and it's just we're in this space, and there's also something to be said about like when you're like everybody there is in their own version of awful, right? So there's no like politeness strategy around like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. No, you're not. You're in a psych ward. Don't lie. You know? And so there's just this transparency and an honesty that, that, you know, I have so much respect for. And, you know, they're like, I wish that people could look at CAMH and think, yeah, there are people in there who are doing serious work.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of creative minds, 100% true. I think that's very cool, and like it would be very interesting to tap in to the artistry there as well, for sure.
Yeah, and it's wonderful because like they're like they have pianos on every floor. I think every floor. I hope so. But like there's that. There are art supplies. Like it's, and I want to see that like in other psychiatric hospitals, because again, I've been to other places where it's very much it's not that. It feels dangerous. It feels hostile. And so just fostering creativity there is so vital.
Do you think that the difference between CAMH and the other places that you've been is just kind of refitting you into the acceptable box of like what society deems as like normal, or like you said, easier to deal with kind of thing? Like, what do you think makes a great place to grow in that way, and as opposed to, it sounds like beating into you said, the Tupperware containers, like beating into just like one way of being?
Yeah, no, that's another excellent question.
Not that I expect you to have all the answers.
Allison, I don't know if you're aware, I do have all the answers.
Thank God. I've been looking for you my whole life.
Here I am. Yeah, I'm kidding, but if I were manic, I would genuinely believe that. And I'm also God. It's me.
Hi.
Yeah, it can happen. Yeah, there's like, I think what constitutes good care, which I've been so fortunate to receive on the 7th floor, which was previously known as like the women's unit, but it's largely for, you know, women, non-binary, and trans folks, and it's trauma informed. That's like a key piece, and like having like a sanctuary model of care, and it has to be like a biosocial medical model. It has to kind of triangulate different, I was about to say different quadrants, and then I was like, no, wait, that's with 4. You can't how do you triangulate 4? I'm confused. Like, end call. Yeah, I can lose it real quick, Allison. No, but like I think it's, again, like, investing patients with agency, the agency to participate in their care, to be informed, to be an active participant in their treatment, in getting better, in seeking help, because that's what's going to encourage people to seek help. Because if you feel like, because help is not help if it's imposed, and if it feels like you're caged in and you have no say in your own life, or if you don't understand what's going on. Like, I've been in places where I've just been dragged off by security guards, and it's like, I don't know where I'm going, or given a medication that I like, what are you giving me? So I think, yeah, just this respect, right, for patients, for their agency, for taking into account their like who they are as people in their care. Like care can't just be a broad brushstroke, like, oh, you know, you're like Kay Zimmer is bipolar, so this is the treatment. There, take lithium, shut the fuck up. You said we could swear, so I was like, I have to put a fuck somewhere. God, I love a good fuck. Right in. No. Yeah, slammed. Yep, I certainly did. But like, and so like again for these spaces, I think coming back to creativity, I like it's so the arts are like it is so healing to be able to create, and you don't have to be good at art, and that doesn't mean anything. Like you just be there and find expression, like expression being the opposite of like depression, if you think of it that way. Or like I have to engage in as many art forms as I can, like music, painting, whatever, performance, and performing as a Scottish man named Hamish. You know, I like, and writing. I'm a writer. I have to do all these things because I'm as creative as I am self-destructive. So I need to be even more creative than I am self-destructive. So having that as this, like, when I'm not doing well, my psychiatrist, he'll ask me like, are you writing? Are you painting? Are you reading? Are you playing the piano? And if I say no to all four, it's like, all right, like it's hospital time, or like if things aren't going well. You know, that's also like I'm so fortunate with the psychiatrist who I've been seeing for 5 years because like he gets me as like a whole person, not just a diagnosis. You know, he knows that like there have been times when he got like he found a way to get like a mini keyboard into my room in the ward, or you know, like he prescribes art to me, you know, more than meds, or he knows how to navigate whatever this strangeness is. So I'm very fortunate that, you know, like it feels like individualized care. So that's, yeah.
Amazing. And what are you hoping to accomplish with your show? What kind of message would you like the world to know?
The world?
Yeah.
I mean,
because they're all coming.
Oh, the whole world. The whole world is coming to see Stephanie Cow King, the Astro Cow.
Right?
Yeah. No pressure. I can't wait. Can't wait for the whole world. Gonna slurp it up like an oyster because the world is yours, and yeah, you know.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it didn't feel good coming out. It didn't feel good. It probably felt even worse for you, so I apologize.
It's the slurp word.
Yeah, I regretted it. I was there when it happened.
Hilarious.
Well, for the show, I'm hoping. Right now, I'm just hoping to like whittle down my script, because as you can see, there's like a chaotic abundance that needs to be contained within 30 minutes. Because yeah, I can go on, and I need to know when to shut up. So like my personal goal, I'm like, okay, you have to get this script down. Don't have a breakdown before the show. Just like, you know, craft it. And I also don't want to like show up as, you know, just like unprepared and like, I'm Steven and I have nothing prepared, but I'm your father. You know, like, I want it to be crafted. I want it to be as good as possible. But yeah, I want mainly with this show, because yeah, there is the dark side. Like, hey, here's how I ended up here. So I sent this application fresh out of eyelid surgery while I was hallucinating, was also in the psych ward because I was going through it after a violent assault, and here I am. And that, like, in and of it's like on the shirt, like, that's not funny. And it's not to say like that sexual assault or rape, like rape are never funny. There is no humor there. What I'm saying is that like you can find humor around really awful things. So for me, it's like in this like weird detail of like, you know, I was thinking through this whole experience and thinking like, yeah, right after the surgery, I had a piece of like gauze, like I had a bandage over my eye for a while. And it was just around Halloween, so my fellow patients were like, "You're like a pirate," and you know, so I got to be a pirate. But like the weirdness of like feeling the ophthalmologist put this like what felt like duct tape over my whole eyebrow, and I was like, "Oh shit! When I take this off, I'm gonna be one eyebrowed. Like this is." I'm already bipolar. I'm unbalanced enough. Like I need both of these. These both need to stay on my face for as long as possible. Like weird things like that. So I like started to write it. And also like when I sent in the application, well, first of all, I always feel awful sending in applications. It's just the most hollowing, empty feel. Like, haha, I put so much work into this thing and you're probably going to say no, it's fine.
Right.
So like I remember sending it off and then like, and emailing Virginia at like, it was like 11:30 p.m. I was like, Virginia, I know it's like, you're probably not awake right now because like, you're probably a reasonable person, but like, I don't know. And then just like slamming my laptop shut and crying, and my nurse had to talk me down. She's an amazing nurse, but just feeling so stupid. And then like when I just laughed so hard when I saw that they accepted this. I'm like, I emailed Virginia. I'm like, Virginia, thanks and everything, but I did send you my application also via email with the subject line, a botched TO sketch application, botched. And you're all cool with it. Okay. And so like I like the weirdness in things. I love the absurd because that makes the most sense to me. Like nonsense makes the most sense to me. And kind of that's, you know, I kind of see that as like mad praxis, because you know, like back in the age of enlightenment, you know, like madness was pit against reason. So like to be mad was to be unreasonable. Anyway, and so yeah, but like when you think of it being it all, we're just these tubes. We're tubes on a rock. Just like filing our taxes, doing laundry, going to work, going for coffee, having existential crises. We're meat tubes, just here. Like it is absurd. So I like the absurd and nonsense. All of that makes so much sense to me. Yeah, I want. I just realized I still haven't answered your question.
That's all right. I'm enjoying this.
Someone has to, because like this will continue happening as soon as we log off. This doesn't stop.
There's no off button.
There is no off button. That's why I'm a raging insomniac. It's a problem. But I want people to feel like, okay, that things that feel unspeakable are actually speakable. You can talk about certain like really hard experiences. You can talk about assault, because you know, in my experience, sometimes I've had, and because people don't always know how to be or what to say naturally, I totally understand that. Much in the way that, you know, if someone tells me that they've gone through something horrific that I can't relate to at all, like sometimes I don't know what to say. But so there have been times when, you know, I've like shared what happened to me, and people say, oh, okay, well, you know, we can move on. We don't need to talk about that. And it's like, but it's okay. Like it is speakable. And you know, like it's not about like capitalizing on your trauma and, you know, like this is a resiliency narrative. It's not. No. I'm a professional wimp. But yeah.
Wimp.
Yeah, I'm scared of everything. Like it's about like, you know what? Like you can sometimes like at the epicenter of awful lies an awful lot of humor. You know, I've never laughed more than the times I've been in the psych ward. I've also never cried more than the times in the psych ward. 14 hours was my max, straight. You can be impressed.
You can be impressed.
Yeah, no, I just want people to know, like, you can laugh, you can, you know, if someone, you know, brings something to the table or to the stage that feels like, oh, this is uncomfortable. It's like, no, wait, we're going to create a space where it's like, you know what, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And, you know, they're like, also that, like, mad people aren't scary, you know? Before I, became whatever but like went into like experienced flagrant psychosis or mania or delusions, hallucinations, etc. I thought like there's no way I can't understand that. I kind of understand. You know, oh, there we go. Like I thought it was unrelatable because I hadn't experienced it yet. That's not the case. It's like, have you ever had a dream? I mean, just kind of think about that. Or have you ever laughed with a friend so hard and, you know, you feel like you're going to piss yourself? Like, imagine that. Just expand it to mania and just, like, don't sleep for a bit. Like, you know? And that, yeah, like, there is also that, like, mad and disabled people have a space on stage and in the creative industry. That's, again, like, why I'm so grateful that Toronto Sketch, that they like, I feel like they took a risk on. I'm like, are you willing to take a risk? I think I wrote something to that effect in my application. Because yeah, there isn't. Sometimes I find it hard to find my place out there. Like, who wants me? Whatever this is, where do I fit? So like we can be on stage. We can create, you know, interesting things and hopefully funny things. And lastly, like and this is also coming back to a previous question of yours, kind of about people's, how people view the ward, and mentally ill people. I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but like, again, before I, you know, graduated to type 1 bipolar, I hadn't experienced the kind of like sort of like the kinds of realities that feels kind of askew from the generally agreed upon reality. And so if I'd see someone on the street talking to themselves or, you know, gesticulating to seemingly no one, I'd think, oh, like, who's that? I don't, maybe I should just like not look, I shouldn't look at that. Don't make eye contact. And then I became that person. And like that person on the street, like the cops have come for, I'd be out, like, I am Diogenes, you know, I'm a cosmopolitan wanderer, or there was one summer I was walking up to people before the cops came for me, going up to people saying, like, where is it? Have you found it? And someone said, like, what did you lose? Well, if I knew what I had lost, I would have found it. Have you found, like that? Or I'm looking for infinity. And so then it's just like, now when I see people like me who, you know, they're just experiencing their own version, right? As we all are, right? Like, in the same way, like the way, like the shade of blue that I see might be a slightly different shade of blue that you see. So I take off my earphones and I listen, and there's this man on Bloor Street, where it's kind of where I live, and I've been seeing him for years, and he's often speaking to you know, himself, to the air, to he's in his own, and he wishes people happy birthday. Every time I pass him, he wishes me happy birthday, so I say happy birthday back. It's great. And then like sometime in the summer, he upgraded to happy birthday and happy Halloween. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, and then I see other people kind of do what they do when they see me in an episode. Is like maybe they bring their bags a little closer to them. Maybe they cross the street. Maybe they give a weird look. And I'm just thinking, like, it could be your birthday and Halloween every day. you're missing out. But there was one night, there was one night where I saw him, he was speaking, and so I took off my earphones to listen, and I heard him say, reflecting on your conscience is the highest form of prayer. And I went home and I wrote that down. I'm like, there's a philosopher and poet who's just amongst us.
Yes.
You know, like, mad people are, like, it's just a different way of thinking, and there can be a lot of beauty in that. And I wish people would see that.
Oh, 100%. Yes. I love that. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
That's incredible. That's a really good quote, too.
Right?
Damn.
Well, here's the thing. Years later, I saw him again. He wished me happy birthday, happy Halloween. So like, happy birthday to you too. And I said, I have to know your name. Like, what, like, who are you? Because here's what you told me. You said, I told him, I said, one night you said, reflecting on your conscience is the highest form of prayer. And I wrote it down because it was so poetic. So I wanted to thank you. And it was adorable. He was like, I see what you mean by that. Yeah, you've got a point. Reflecting on I hadn't thought of that before. I was like, it's yours. No, I don't want to plagiarize you. You said that. Like, you're right about that. Happy birthday. Yeah, you've given me something to think about. I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And kind of crazy to think that if you didn't take out your headphones and listen and write it down, that would be lost forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, that's amazing. Did you get his name?
Yes, I did. Yeah. His
Good.
name, yeah. I don't know if I
Yeah, I was going to say, like, maybe I shouldn't release it.
I don't know.
I asked, and then I was like, oh, yeah. Privacy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a generic first name, that's fine. But, yeah, really sweet.
That's so nice. That is awesome. Yeah. So, in preparing for this show, what are you worried about anything at all? Are you stressed about it coming up, like coming close to the day? Or are you feeling pretty good about getting on stage? Because you seem like a natural performer. I feel like this is good.
Therein lies the problem. I have too much to perform. Like, you could give me 2 hours and I would go overboard, which is like it's not what we get regular emails from Toronto Sketch with updates and stuff, and they're like, please stick to your time, don't go. And I'm like, I know, I feel like that was I feel like that was personal.
I feel like it's personal attack.
Yeah. Like, it was just like, we're sending this to everyone. By the way, Kay Zimmer, like 30 minutes, and then we're cutting off your mic because we know you. I am worried about that. I am worried about, like, and I have like a deprivation mindset for a lot of things in general, or like a scarcity mindset, and a lot of that is in just trying to make it as an artist, whatever. And by make it, it's just like I want to be where I belong. I love performing. I love being with other artists. I love creating things. Like, that's where I feel like I can be and live. And it's really hard to find those opportunities. And, like, especially when you're like, there is a stage in the artist's life where you're just like, you're putting things out, you're expecting rejections, you expecting and collecting a lot of them. And it's just, there's this like fear of like, if you get something, it's like, what if this is my only shot? Like, what if like this is it and I don't live up to what my art can be? Or, like I want to be able to like, I want to create something that my one-eyed, self who was applying and hallucinating can be like, yeah, that's why I applied. So yeah, like there's there is that fear of like it needs to be, I want it to be craft. And but like in terms of when I perform, like anytime I've given live readings or if I've performed or like that moment is it's electric, it's everything, and I don't get like, yeah, I have nerves, but it's just excitement. It just feels like excitement, and then once I'm there, it feels like I'm most comfortable there. But yeah, no, I'm definitely worried about a lot of things. I'm worried that I'm not gonna like I have ideas of like, okay, so like I want to be able to rent a piano to have it there, and like am I gonna like I'm also the least practical person I know, so like figuring that out, and I'm also like, again, I do things at the last minute. It's bad, like I can't be 11:45 PMing this, like, so I need to like consolidate a script and, condense, because I feel like I have too much. And, yeah, by way of preparation, like I've mainly just been talking to myself, which is what I did for the last time, but I want to have a script. Like I want it to also be crafted. So yeah. And then, then it's just, I want to do well, so that, because, like again, my application was unhinged, was writing like, oh, I'm hallucinating, and I was like, I'm out of eyelids here, and there were like some requirements, like submit video clips, they have to be 10 minutes long. I'm like, this one's 15, but if you stop watching at 10, then you'll miss my cow, so I don't know, it's up to you. Like, there was another section where, oh god, this, like, where we had to submit an image. And it like, and I guess it's like the image for like, that's, if you go and you see the lineup, you see people's image, like they look like posters, a lot of them, and very professional. Like, this is the show poster. Mine is just a picture. It was a screenshot because I can't pose and smile correctly for camera. Again, we got, because I'm bipolar. I can't smile properly. It just feels weird. I'm just too aware of all like my facial muscles, yeah, twitching. So I took a screenshot of me talking like during my art gallery a couple of years ago. So it's me in front of like all these weird paintings, like going like this, and I sent that in. Again, I was like, I felt like I was tripping at the time of the application. I didn't know what they wanted because it said main image, main, like all caps, and I was like, is this an acronym? Is this? And I was like trying to Google. I'm like, what does main mean in the acting world? Comedy, main. What's main? What is main? Like, is like the main? I didn't know. So I was like, I came so close to sending a selfie that I took right after the surgery with my patch. I was like, maybe I just send this patch. Like, this isn't gonna get in anyway, so like I might as well. It came so close. Like, what I have isn't great, but it could have been so much worse. And so like I feel pressure right now to do well, also, so that like, to just out of respect for, like the selection committee at Toronto General. Well, that's a Freudian slip. No, we're not the hospital, Kay. Actually, this time you're not going there. I mean, Toronto sketch. God. Yeah, so like I want to do well, so that it's like, thank you so much, you took a risk, and I hope it paid off. Please have me back. And also, like, I applied as a mad and disabled person, and I want more of us in creative spaces. And so if I can do well, maybe that's like my tiny little part in helping with that. I don't know. Yeah.
Amazing. Incredible. Is there anything that you said you wanted to shout out the community and stuff like that? Is there anything you wanted to say before I wrap up with a final question?
Thank you so much. It's so generous to have that space in a podcast. Yeah, just quickly, like I want to give some shout outs to especially to collectives and artists like marginalized, who work with marginalized people, marginalized artists. I know that like Creative Connector is is a really good source for accessible opportunities in disability arts for disabled people to find and to have access to. I have to give a massive shout out to Feelzine. So they're like an independent publication, and they are it's the first place where I've had any written piece of mine published in print, and they have me as like a regular contributor, and it's like they gave my writing a home, and they like they're just they are the editors are they're amazing people, and they showcase talents from they ensure to give marginalized writers a space. And obviously I want to shout out the Madville Collective, because without them I would not have had any in. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do my cow on the stage and send in that video clip to then be able to perform a couple years later. I also want to shout out Six Stories, run by Sophie Lyons, who also is she's working with disabled writers, and like there's so much, there's so many people I want to shout out. Laura Meadows she's one of my best friends, and they are an artist, and I'm going to be wearing jewelry that they made, like Rubik's Cubes earrings that they made. So like they have an account called Quirkalicious Creations. I think they're incredible. Anyway, I could and lastly, Workman Arts at CAMH. Okay, that's it. I don't know.
That's amazing. That is so cool. I didn't even know all that stuff existed, so I'm excited to post this so people know that those things are around and available. That's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you for that time. Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to do the podcast and chat with me.
This was amazing. Again, it makes me feel like a celeb. You know.
Absolutely. 100%. That's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, I truly appreciate this, and your questions were so they were so what they needed to be. They were so insightful and necessary for the kind of message that I want to communicate in general through my work. So yeah, truly thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. I do have one final question for you.
Okay.
And it's just, if you could give this chapter in your life a title, what would you title it?
Well, it's a really good one, and I am writing a memoir, so I should know this, but
I love
that. I should have that. Oh gosh,
that's all right. It's a thinker. Everybody takes a minute. They're like, "Whoa, wait."
I feel I don't know. I don't know why the word puncturing is coming to mind, because I just feel like for a while now, like I've just been in the same chapter, like of just like constant hospitalizations and trying to make it in the art, trying to like share my art with others so that it can mean something to someone else. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do that in the ward, and it means everything to me when fellow patients say, like, I was having anxiety and then I heard you play the piano and I felt better. Like, that to me is more than whatever it is my playing could do for them. But like, I want to be able to do more. And again, like, coming back to your previous questions, like, show, like, because it's not just my story, right? Like, this is like, I've met incredible people, and there's humor, there is, like, there are hard moments, and like, there are really beautiful stories worth sharing, worth staging, and so for a while, I feel like I just keep like trying to like get through this. There's like a layer between where I am and like between me and this future version of myself that I've seen. Again, like I told my psychiatrist, I said, like, I'm gonna put my space cow on stage. You watch that space. And I've done that a lot with a bunch of my other work. Like, it's just like, I just need that manifesting time to come. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe the chapter is just like, maybe stop being such a mess and try and like, move forward a little. I don't know.
Amazing. Well, I think you're doing an incredible job at moving forward. And when you say puncture and like that separation between you and like your future self, yeah, like you mean like puncturing a hole to like be closer to that? Because
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
It feels like there's like this imaginary barrier, and I'm just like, okay, I've been chiseling at this for a while, and it's not working. I don't know. You can't climb over it. You can't climb out. You gotta. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking to me and stuff like that. So,
Thank you so much.
This was a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You were wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. You're hilarious. You have such an amazing sense of humor, and open and honesty. So yeah, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.